on to upscaling. This will not apply to everyone, and it really will depend on a number of factors, give it price or project, etc. So upscaling or upresing is exactly what it sounds like. And we have spoke about this software. It's called TOPAZ. We have talked about it a little bit, but I'm going to actually use the software now. We've done upscaling on our images when we have created with, say, Midjourney, for example. You remember here when you can upscale right there to upscale to get a better image. But then when we put it into Runway, we noticed that the upscaling didn't really carry through, but it did somewhat, but not as much. Now, you can do upscaling here inside Topaz or any other tools. Topaz is a great piece of software. I can actually show you the site here, bring it up for you. So Topaz is a great bit of software. They're partnered with, or they were created by the same people that do Gigapixel, who are great for upresing images. And they've also upres video now with Topaz, as well as image and things. So the main points to think about here is, do you need it? If you're uploading just to YouTube, someone's going to watch on a phone screen, it's just for fun, then no, probably not. But if you want to do something like the project I'm doing, where it may be blown up quite big to be viewed on screen, say at festival, or you just want the best of the best, or you're doing a client's project and you want it to be super crisp, then yes, you probably do want to use an upscaler like Topaz. There is also a cost involved, obviously. Now, the prices are going to vary. There are sales on as we speak, and you can get all three. I'll show you actually. You can get all three here for $299. You can get the photo, video, and gigapixel upscaler. But also, if I go on to video right here, that's currently at $299. That's a 1 year subscription. You can cancel the subscription so it doesn't renew, but for a year, $299 right now. So there definitely is a cost involved, and you need to think whether you need this or not, and for the amount you get from it. We're talking about an extra 10% in quality, maybe, sometimes 15, 20%, which is huge, but a small amount of quality difference here, but you might want it for your project. So I'm going to show you, I'll show you this, but just bear that in mind, okay? So I've put in my clip right here. This was that shot, if you remember, this shot right here, the establishing one of Pearl Harbor when we go across. Now it's a nice enough shot. It's not very crisp. The movement is not crazy smooth, a little bit of jumping, and the lines, for example, if I look around this wall here, are slightly soft. Some of these lines around the window, slightly soft. Probably for the type of image I'm doing, this 1940s, 50s style, it doesn't have to be super crisp, but I want it just a little bit better than this. And this is how we do it. So I've got that shot. I've just drag and dropped it inside here. This is Topaz Video AI 5 right now. And I'll show you kind of the settings you can go through. Drag and drop that in. You come up with a screen somewhat like this. So we'll start from the very top, shall we? You can do preset, and you can say, I want to do 4 times and slow motion, 8 times, etc. So we're going to make this a much better quality image. But I like to be a little bit more in control right here of what we're doing. Just take note that right now, this is not 2K or 4K. It's a strange resolution that comes out with the images. 1280 by 768. That's not a very good resolution, obviously. So we want to make that better. I can simply go to the drop down here on enhancement, and I can say you can 2 times scale this, and we get to 2 by 536, or I can do 4 times, and it tells me it's going to be 5000, which makes it bigger than if we were going to use a 4K image. That's bigger. And bigger with regards that is better, I think, because if I'm going to use 4K when I come to my edit software, I can shrink this down manually, and I still have all the image density that we get with that many pixels. So I like to do that. That's my preference. Now, codec we'll come to in a bit. I can tell this to be H.264, which is pretty much what I want to edit with, and then I'll export with that. I can also say ProRes, which is pretty nice. Maybe I'll go with ProRes for this one. So adjustments. Now, this is the video type. There's lots of difference, and you can read all about the different ones, specializing in enhancing faces. The default is this one right here you come to, which is general enhancement for most videos. The best one right here is RHEA, R-H-E-A, that's advanced 4K upscaling. There are other ones on here, the denoise and sharpen and animation. This is the best that I'm going to use this. But please be aware that if your computer doesn't have an amazing RAM, it's not a huge capacity machine, then it may take forever or crash doing it. It takes a lot to do this. I'm on a Mac with an M1 or 2 chip, I can't remember, and I can do it, and it can process this clip. Will process for this length time, or do we in here, this long, 10-15 seconds or so. Oh, right here, this long right here. It took about 10 minutes. I've done this before in RIA, so not too bad for my model of machine, but please be aware of what you're editing on. So I'm going to choose this. We can take this off, although it doesn't allow you to do it anyway. This is, you can see them side by side live, but what I've realized is you don't actually really get to see. It's not too much in real time. You're better off going through this, exporting it, and viewing them side by side. I'll keep going down here. I don't want to add any noise. If you do want to add noise, I would fully suggest you just do that in post-production in your edit, not here. Let's get our cleanest, best image that we can. I don't need to fix any focus. There are no focus issues. This is, of course, if you were filming using your own footage and you wanted to upscale and up-res it and make it amazing and you had a bit of a focus issue, it can help with that. We're not going to have that with AI image. So no noise, no grain. I'm using RIA, and it gives you a warning here. It has a lot of RAM and GPU resources. Do you have it? Yeah, okay. I leave all this on and I keep it manual. Now frame rate, the original is 24 frames, and that's what you'll want mostly with movies. Maybe you wanted to have 60 frames because you want to slow this down or something, then you can. But keep it at 24 frames a second. I'm going to keep it on Apollo, which is the one I like to use here. I'm not having any slow motion like we've just said. Now, this is quite interesting if I hover over here. So interpolated frames. I won't go too much into depth with this, but when you have an AI video, what it does is it might tell you it's 24 frames per second, but it's not. Sometimes it duplicates the frame to the next one. So you might end up having more like 12, 18, you may have a different amount of frames that make it look like a moving great image, but it's not as smooth as if it was an actual video because there aren't really 24 frames in there. So if I put duplicate frames and replace, what it's going to do is it'll detect if frame 1 and frame 2 are the same and then frame 3 is different, for example, it'll replace frame 2 with its own frame that's in between frame 1 and 3. So you're making new frames to make the video even smoother, which is absolutely incredible. So yes, I click this on. Sensitivity, default is 10. I pretty much leave it at 10, maybe 13 we could say, so something like this. I don't touch anything else really. I haven't got any motion blur, any stabilization, anything like that. Just make sure my codec's fine. That's what I use for this. And I click export. I don't need to do that for you now because it takes up a lot of RAM. If I did that and then I was trying to do something else at the same time, I wouldn't be able to show you. I've already exported this video, gone through this exact process with this exact setup, and we can have a look and see what they look like side by side. So here are my two shots. Here is the one that we just took out from inside Topaz, and here is the original one here. Kind of hard for you to see on the screen. You might not see as much detail as I do on this recording. I apologize for that. I'll show you as much as I can here. Best to have these side by side to look at, and you'll notice that there's some cropping right there. That was a setting inside here that I can choose how I want it to be when I choose my output resolution. So this is true 4K right here, and this is that strange 1287 whatever it was that we exported from our AI model. So if I just go along and play this for you, you're going to see very small amount of difference, but that's very fluid. You might not even see the difference in here, but let me just show you. And there's just slightly less fluidity, but again, you're not going to notice too much from a drone shot like this. If a person was moving, speaking, hands, etc., then you may do. I think I need to show you. If I go right about here, let's have a look at that. And I'll do the same thing right here. So if we have a look at this wall here, you see that a little bit blurred, especially fuzzy around here. Let's go to our other image, a clear straight line and clear and crisp here. Have a look at this window lines. I like to look at windows quite often in this. Right here, crispiness. Let's have a look here. So slightly softer here, and definitely slightly more crisp. I think I need to find the exact same shot. Here, this line nice and crisp with these poles coming up. Definitely less crisp and softer here. These lines are nice, straight, not blurred. These slightly softer, just look fuzzy on the edges. You can compare that one there. That's a good one. Let me put these closer together. Here and here. So that's the amount. Oh, definitely on here. Look at the white bin popped out from there on the crispiness for that. So that's the kind of level we're going with here. When you see detail on someone's face, you'll definitely see it also. But that's the kind of level you're getting with up-resing. Once again, when you upscale, think, do I need it for what I'm creating? Is it worth it? How many projects am I doing? Perhaps divide the cost by project, and then is it going to be worth it to be able to do that? Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually batch upload. I will upload loads of my clips, all of my video clips that I have. If I go back to my window right here, this is where I've been storing, that looks ugly. These are all my clips that I have here. These are the names for them that are linked on my timeline in Premiere Pro. So what I'm going to do is in my edit suite, I'm just going to highlight them all, offline them. I'm going to go through here and I'm going to do each and individual one as a batch, so it uploads them, exports them all under the same name as they're originally called into a new folder. Then in my edit software, I will just reconnect them, but I'll reconnect them to the new versions, the new upscaled versions, and then all my timeline will be exactly the same movements, the same everything. It'll just be the nice new crisp images having exported it from here inside Topaz.